ready.
Okay, let's start the count.
Okay. We're good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our regular monthly meeting. I will let you know that the meeting is being recorded, so if anybody wants to watch it a little bit later, feel free to. And I can also let you know that Councillor Bazarowicz and Councillor Horbis are not here today. Councillor Horbis may be able to zoom in, but Councillor Bazarowicz is away. So with that, I will ask for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second. Councillor Spicer. Any further discussion or amendments to the agenda this morning? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I would like to also add about the change of date for the Red River North Tourism AGM that everybody's invited to.
Okay. Anything else from members of council? Hearing and seeing none, I have a mover, have a seconder. I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, our delegations, we have the minutes from our last meeting. We have one set of minutes from our February 24th meeting, and if I could have that resolution, please.
Resolve the meetings of, sorry, hang on a second. Resolve the meetings of, what was the date here? February 10th, meeting of council be adopted as presented. February 24th. Sorry.
24th, yes. Can I have a mover for those minutes? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Strang, seconds. Any further, are there any amendments to those minutes, corrections, or something that was missed? I don't see any hands going up, so I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, our delegations aren't for a few minutes yet, and there's nobody here in the chamber, so we'll move on to communication for action. And the first item on under 5.1 is Manitoba Good Roads Association, and that is the 114th annual banquet and awards presentation.
Yes, Madam Mayor, and this will be on the 21st, and it is at the AMM conference at the Clarion Hotel at 3130 Victoria Avenue on April 21st, and it starts at 5:30 with dinner at 6. And we need to know how many tickets to order, and as you know, I think we have one or two residents who will be getting awards.
One for sure. I know. Heather, is there perhaps two? One?
Only one.
Okay. All right. So if I could have a resolution, do you have all of council going, or nobody has said anything to
I'm
you?
assuming it's whoever's gonna go to AMM,
We'll
so
go.
we'll just pass it as council.
Okay, thank you. So if you want to bring the resolution forward.
Okay, I'm just gonna make up the resolution, it's not there. And so what I'll do is resolve council approve attendance at the 114th annual banquet and awards presentation of the Manitoba Good Roads Association on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at the Clarion Hotel and Suites in Brandon, Manitoba.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second, please. Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Unrelated, but related. So our hotel rooms then, really there's two of you that need it for the night of the 20th, but the rest of us probably don't.
Correct.
Yeah. So I just wanna make sure we were making that.
Yes, the mayor and myself are needing to be at the conference earlier because of the following day that we have to attend the mayor and CAO meeting. Everyone else is booked for the day after and the rest of
Which is the 21st, which means we should be there in time to.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good, Chair.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, we usually drive in the morning on the Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll be going on the Monday, yeah, because our mayors and, or our mayors reads and CAOs is in the morning on the Tuesday, so.
Is there, just with the weather, that if it's icy, if it's been roads, like, is there something that do you have a late date that? Cause I would even pay for my own if the roads got bad or whatever, that drive in the night before or something, depending on the weather.
Good question. If the weather is changing, we'll contact the hotel, you know, we'll monitor the weather and we'll see if we can contact.
Just
them a day or
whenever
two
you're
in
asked to
advance.
cancel them, but yeah, that, usually we just go in on the Tuesday morning, but.
Yeah, if the weather is, you
Yeah.
never know what's gonna be, the spring is gonna be like, yes.
Well, and I have been to Brandon some years where it's been a sheet of ice right from Winnipeg to Brandon and we've traveled. Dave is shaking his head too, so yeah, it can
Yeah.
be really dicey at that time of year, so.
Anyways, I just
anyways.
thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah. Okay, I have a mover, I have a seconder. I'm not sure that we voted on it. Heather, no? Okay, so have a mover, have a seconder. I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And, we'll move on to new and other business. And 6.1, the landfill asbestos disposal project. And Deepak, if you want to fill us in on that a little bit.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So what this is that, with the landfill, we were approached by a contractor who's working on, who was putting a proposal forward for the Barons River School fire. The entire building has been demolished due to the fire, and it has to be disposed of, as there's asbestos in the building, so it's basically requiring the entire building itself and all the material. The contractor had estimated about 100 end dumps. These dumps obviously would have, it's like a plastic kind of a containment that they put inside the end dumps. It's thick plastic, and that's where they put the material so that it's completely contained from the site, and then it's brought to our landfill. They had a couple of choices, obviously, our landfill, which is a type 1 landfill, or any other landfill that's in the area. The other ones are quite a bit further away, so they wanted it, and we are also a little bit cheaper than the other ones as well. And so they asked us to, if we could do this. One of our concerns was that it was a timing issue. The timing is that we just are opening up the second landfill cell, and the previous one has been covered up a little, and or is being covered up. And with that, we didn't want to put this building material as the first bit of garbage, because we have a brand new liner at the boat of our landfill cell. We don't want it damaged with any construction materials, although these will be completely contained in these plastic bags, but over time, it's just the compacting and so forth we have to worry about. And so what we did was we've decided to look at opening up the toe of the first cell and to be allowed then to do this. They went out as a requirement, because they have to do this in a very short period of time. They have to do it in the next week, within this week and next week. Basically, it'll be mostly done over several days, and they need to use the roads, the winter roads, because the existing road that comes from Barons River to south goes over a bridge, and that bridge can't hold the amount of weight that these trucks will have. And because of that, they need to take advantage of the existing roads. Otherwise, they're looking at significant more loads spread out with less weight, and they're looking at somewhere around 3,000 tons that we're looking at bringing in. And at that kind of price, that's about a little over $500,000 in revenue for us, for a very advantageous situation. Obviously, we are going to follow all the environmental regulations. We've already fitted our staff up with personal protective equipment so that they would be able to do this work. We'll be monitoring the site. There's requirements. We're working with the province of Manitoba, as we do with any asbestos containment and disposal. But we're going to have to bring in some gravel and other works. So we wanted to know that. I wasn't, so in order to do this quickly, I asked council's permission in advance electronically. Council gave me the permission electronically, and I said I'd bring it back as a full decision at council. As of, the work hasn't started yet. But, as of Monday, I was informed that, the contractor did get the approval from the insurance company. And so the contractor will be paying us, not the insurance company, so that we'll make sure that our tipping fees are covered. And the contractor, is, wanting to use it, so now we're beginning the work, we're ordering the gravel and so forth. We will obviously want to, play it safe and make sure that we don't expend more expenses than revenue coming in. So our first job will be to make sure the road and the cell is opened up to accommodate this material and completed. And then if the estimate is as we predict, then what we've recommended is to use the funds from this to buy a used excavator to have on site, so that the work we tend to do on that at the landfill, an excavator on site will help us to do this. We'll have that excavator for a long time. This helps to pay for it, and there should still be revenue left over, which we're recommending would go into a reserve account. That helps to manage any future costs, because these kinds of revenue opportunities come few and far in between.
Okay, any questions, comments? I'll start with Councillor Spicer and then Councillor Belanger.
Okay, I have two, so I'll start, maybe I'll finish.
Okay.
First one is, I think I know the answer to, so in order to take this material, it has to be a class 1 landfill, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Rob, go ahead.
The 150,000 projected for the excavator, is that something that was looked into already, that were rough numbers were coming back, or is that just an outright guesstimate?
It is, as they would say, Class D guesstimate. But we did take a look at what's out there. It's probably gonna come lower. We're saying we'll stay within that. Obviously, if you have the money, then you'll look for, it'll be dependent on age. We're not looking at something that's going to be used as much as our regular excavators, so we don't have to get a brand new one, and we'll have the proper sort of life cycle costing on that. So, as an example, we may be able to get a 2016 or maybe a 2019, don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
First of all, the excavator, that's a hole we're talking about, this, or is it a crawler loader or a hole? I'm not,
A hole, mostly,
it's a hole, okay.
just to be able to,
Second,
adjust and do the
Yeah.
work on the landfill as
Okay.
necessary.
So all this material, like, it'll be C and D and asbestos, but it's obviously all mixed in together, is it? That's quite a job, and so, like you said, there'll be a liner, I'll call it a liner in the trucks, but within that liner, like this C and D is bagged.
Yes, it's all bagged, put into this liner.
Okay.
It's almost like a pill.
Just
And
wanted
so
to make sure.
to the level of bagging, they have to meet the environmental requirements. They are going to do all that
Okay.
for transport and as well as for taking away off the site. So there's very strict regulations when you encounter asbestos, what you have to do with various asbestos. If you're doing just asbestos removal, you're required to put that in bags. If you're doing a demolition with a considerable amount, it can get very, very expensive on those, because the asbestos is already mixed in with the construction material. So then they have a specific methodology and testing to make sure that there's no disturbing of the asbestos on site when they're putting it in. And, they take care. I can't remember all the details, but I think they're even required to like soak it down a little bit to make sure that nothing happened. And from my understanding, from what they've told us, is they're gonna be in almost like these pills, like these plastic pills that the material's put into, and then they're completely sealed, but that's what's put on the truck. And so that truck is it's got this sealed sort of bag, giant bags, very thick. And then that's what's brought over, and then it's monitored to make sure, even when it's dumped into our landfill site, that it doesn't rupture.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're probably, I'm guessing, totes, like fairly big totes, like about a 4 by, that's what I would.
I'm not sure.
Because, the work trying to fill, like if you visualize a bag, you're gonna have a lot of workers trying to bag, so, I'd imagine it would be the I think they're going 4x4 totes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's with.
Yeah, it might be those type of totes.
It doesn't matter, but
And I think then there, even those totes are put into something so that it's,
I see.
so that it's completely sealed, because they wanna make sure as they're transporting it, nothing opens up or.
Yeah, okay.
Sandra, did you have anything?
I'm sort of waiting to see for my answer. So when is this process going to actually start? Like,
Could be as early as this week,
Okay, because you said about the winter roads and everything. that-
yes.
And then are we gonna get all the documentation right after that, so you can see people coming out? You know, it's great, we have the class 1 landfill, that it's actually gonna get used as our classification, but we're gonna get all the documentation and that everything was safe and the process and.
Yes, all the environmental licenses and so
Yeah,
forth,
we'll
and
give it
as well as all the
Kevin.
testing, and then as well as our workplace health and safety requirements, all that will have to be addressed. And then I'm hoping to get all that detail afterwards and then report back to council as to what was completed, how much revenue we generated, and what we were able to do with that.
Okay,
And at the end of the day, council will make the final decision as to where the funds go.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Scott.
Don't know if you could tell us who the contractor is, but is this contractor well-known and experienced in doing this type of work?
I'm under the impression they are, but, we don't get to choose that.
No, but it kind of feeds into that question about
I would suspect. that
how,
it's-
how confident we can be that this is done.
Well, because I think it's dealing with the federal government, First Nation, as
Yeah.
well as the
Yeah.
insurance company, I'm relying on them to do the, verification that the, contractor has the skills to do
I
the
would
job.
suspect if someone's dealing with that product, that whoever's doing it is gonna make sure they're getting somebody that's not green with it.
Yeah.
Never done it before.
I would guess it would be Rakowski. They do lots of them, but I got one little question. I know there's no guarantee, but I spoke to you about that before, Deepak. The number of loads, I hope their estimate is not all of a sudden we find out it's only half the number of loads, cause that profit wise, it kind of screws everything up.
Correct,
I don't
and that,
expect you-
and
you
if,
don't-
and if, yeah, and if the loads, that's why we're waiting to find out exactly how the loads work out before we do the acquisition of the excavator. If we don't think there's enough revenue, we're not going into a negative situation. Then it'll be just another one of those situations where we would like to have an excavator at the landfill site. And
Oh,
if the
yeah.
opportunity avails itself, we'll look at getting a new excavator. But at this point, we're saying this is one of those opportunities to get. So I think the cost of the $150,000, which is also an approximate right now, for the gravel, for the road, just to reestablish a roadway to get to that toe of the landfill site and to open up the landfill site, that is an estimate of $150,000, it could be less, and we're estimating minimum $150,000. I think it'd be even less, it would be more than that for this kind of material to come in. So if you say that we only received $250,000, then what we're recommending is we don't get the excavator, still put $100,000 into our reserve account.
Okay, thanks. Like I say, I don't expect you to know, nobody knows if it's good, I hope, let's just hope it's that amount of votes, that's all, and everything will work out. Fine.
Okay, anything else on this one, members? No, okay. And do we have a resolution, Deepak? Or is it for,
Yes, we do, sorry, Madam Mayor.
that's okay.
Okay. Resolve that council ratify the authorization for the administration to proceed with the Lebo landfill asbestos disposal project at an estimated gross revenue of $519,000. And further be resolved that council approve the capital purchase of a used excavator not to exceed $150,000 and operating expenditures of approximately $150,000 to be funded by project revenues. And further be resolved that the administration ensure all activities comply with the Manitoba Workplace Safety and Health Act and environmental regulations for asbestos burial. And further be resolved that any net surpluses generated from this project be placed into the landfill reserve to support future capital needs and stabilize landfill costs.
Okay, Mover, Counselor Spicer, second, please. Counselor Sutherland, any further discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Good morning, ladies. If you just want to come forward, we'll take your delegation at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for having us here today. Give me one second. I'm still getting used to the reading glasses, so please forgive me. I have limited vision. We kind of wrote some notes here.
Oh.
Okay.
You ladies can have a seat if you're.
Oh, no, we're
No,
good.
you're good.
Brandon's
Okay.
good, thank you.
Okay.
So I just wanna say thank you very much for having us. My name is Margaret Walker. A little bit about me, I actually grew up north, about 3 hours north of here. So used to small town and that, and one thing growing up, my mom always wanted to go to the Manitoba Highland Gathering. And we never ever went until my friend Alana here asked me if I wanted to join. And so I hopped in on it because I always grew up volunteering with different groups and stuff. And so my mom was really excited that I accepted the offer. And it's been really interesting getting to know everybody around here and being involved. So today we'd like to share some information about the Manitoba Highland Gathering. We put on our event to honor the culture and heritage of the Manitoba Scots and the people of Manitoba. We provide a wide variety of cultural events, not just the Scottish.
I'm Alana Downey. I grew up in Selkirk. One of the ancestors of the Red River Métis settlers. And yeah, I've been here all my life. And I am currently the secretary treasurer for the Manitoba Highland Gathering. Margaret is our president. So we have some pictures to show you as kind of a little bit of a presentation. So we can go a little bit further. So each morning when we have a pancake breakfast when we have our event. And on the Saturday, you're just gonna go.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they can pass it around.
because I was gonna, all right, anyways. So pancake event, and so with our opening set, there is a parade that starts our opening ceremonies, and it features the RCMP Division pipe band. We invite any of our groups that are available to partake in the procession along with some very important people. Top of our list is our grand host chieftain, Debbie Feeblecorn. As mayor of the RM St. Clements, you're providing us with the land of our gathering. Margaret, as our president of the Manitoba Highland Gathering, is the grand chieftain and is the one that organizes our event. And we also have an honorary chieftain who is considered the most honored, respected, and acts as the king of the day, protecting his people, overseeing the festival, and hands out awards. The chieftain will do a calling of the clans. The people will call out their clan names. Then the pipe band plays a tune for the salute to the chieftain. We have a celebration of the haggis. Is really important. It has its own special presentation with a toast, little glasses of scotch, and then we have the haggis that he presents. And then after the toast to the haggis, we have a toast to our chieftain. Then our morning opening ceremonies is completed, and we have our festivities start. We have 5 bands. We have 5 competitions and championships. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Scottish food is available. So we have some sausage rolls and some Scotch pies and some Scotch eggs on that picture. We also have our 5 competitions and championships, hand and dancing, pipe and drums, heavy events, canoe and kayaking, and our newest event is our swords, our broadswords and longswords. We also have live reenactment villages. We have a Barony of Castel Rouge. We have Manitoba Living History that represents our Red River settlers, and we have Vikings. So then, continuing on, we have multiple cultural entertainment, and we have a picture of our Royal Scottish Country Dance Society people doing a ballet type ballroom dance, and I went a little too fast. And let you guys catch up. And we also have our refolk area where you could try out all our heavy events at a lighter, smaller version to try out.
I'm at the Vikings.
You're the Vikings, okay?
I'm just gonna make a comment. Your gentleman that gives the toast to the haggis,
Yes.
he is very for the formality of it. He puts in so much enthusiasm in that it's just a flying when he's chopping
Oh,
it up.
yes. There still might be haggis on the ceiling.
He does a great job.
He does.
Yeah.
That's Bob Brandt, he's out of Beausejour. There's our country dancers. And with our multicultural, we've had Bula arts dancers. We've had jiggers and Métis fiddlers. Morgan Grace was at our event one year.
And I'm on to the wee folk.
Okay, and then we have our little wee folk here. And then after at the end of the day, we have a Kilted Cove ice cream truck. It's all decked out in our Scottish attire as well.
I hope you have these numbered, because we.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. This is in order for you guys.
I didn't know we had the little ones who were doing it too.
Yes, there's different activities for the wee folk area where they can try out a variety of the heavy events. So just like the heavy events next door to them, the guys and gals can come over and show the wee folk how to do the caber toss.
I was in this competition, I still lost. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Yeah.
Best you see in live pictures, right? What our event is all about.
And I asked that, I saw you had the canoes. I didn't know that went, where do you?
That's at the Cooks Creek.
Just at the
Oh,
ridge.
Just every
Fire
the
hall.
fire hall, yes,
Did
yes.
not know that.
Yeah, we do that that's a Saturday morning, canoe and
I have
kayak.
to tell those guys to get in, there's the paddle challenge that we host, and that it ends up in St. Clements.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thanks, Scott.
Yes.
Thank you, those were very
So,
good.
yes, those are our photos that we can share, and then we also have, commemorative programs. We brought a few that you guys could, keep and look through and see the.
And a set of tickets for each of your members here.
And what else did we bring for them?
And I do have a couple of our sponsorship letters I would love to leave at the desk.
Yeah, you can just hand one in and we'll make sure the office gets it and council will have a look at it, perhaps even later today, so.
And then we also have a local lady who is a Manitoba Gaelic translator. And she is the one who actually translates our program into the Manitoba Gaelic. And so it's kind of neat to look at the different words and see how different they are and how the local people have kept their Scottish history and tradition alive. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, we can answer for you or try and answer for you, find some answers for you. Please shoot.
Oh, and then we also, brought you,
Oh,
a
goodies.
sample of our, we are actually trying to, last year, a lot of our cookies we received from Arbor kind of got damaged on transport.
Oh,
Right, so we are trying a different way of how they packaged the cookies, so we got some. And it just so happened we got it for, this week. So feel free, you take two if you like, we got lots.
Thank you so much.
And I think I have it in my calendar somewheres, but can you just refresh my memory on the dates for
Deepak
this
doesn't like
year?
cookies.
It is on the 20th and 21st this year, the Saturday and Sunday.
And I'm taking two.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I was gonna ask how long you guys have been between Selkirk and here, but I see you're knocking on the door of 60 years.
Yes,
This
yes,
last year was 57, this year's 58,
yes,
2 more years and it's 60.
it is, and we're already starting to plan for our 60th. I'd like to, see about organizing a Kaylee potentially, like it's a Manitoba Social, Kaylee, Scottish Festival. And maybe, this is kind of premature to say, but I'd like to try to see about getting Jerry Serrata to come, Morgan Grace to come, all our local talents that have originally come from this area to come out and perform for us.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Then you said you had your letter, if you could just hand it over to Deepak for a request for the grant. Did you say you had a letter for the?
No, this is just the sponsorship package that we have for, different businesses and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay.
We have a Robert the Bruce sponsorship level. You know how we have platinum and gold and silver?
Yes.
We have different titles.
And so you can have the details.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And I guess the question that I have you gotten a hold of, the province?
The ethnocultural support program?
No,
Manitoba government?
no,
Tourism?
Like
Not
Nellie
tourism.
Kennedy, the cultural.
We're just-
Ian Goodall?
Ian, yes, have you talked to him?
Not yet.
Okay,
We were looking at all the requirements of that and after today, actually, hoping to make sure we get all the things organized to,
yeah, and even if you don't have everything organized as they request,
okay,
please go and see him and he may be able to help you put everything together because I know that there is funding out there for your kind of events.
Okay.
And if you don't approach them, they're not gonna come looking for you.
yeah, Brendan actually suggested it
Yeah.
and sent me the link, so we've been reading it over and working on it.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a lot on our list
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
new this year.
right.
One of the
okay.
requirements was support letters, and so our support letters that we've had, it was from 2018, they're a little outdated. So we're
Okay,
trying to collect
yeah,
newer versions.
I think just what the mayor's hinting for you to do is approach him first, so he has you in mind and everything, that everybody else doesn't step up, and then when it comes time that you actually have done all your qualifications to apply for it, then it's coming.
Yeah.
And I would reach out to him first and just
Right.
say, we're just getting everything ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, what do you need in
Yeah.
order to get some funding from the province, so.
But Brendan can help.
Yeah, Brendan should be able to help you with that too.
Yeah.
But I would approach Ian and see what he has in store.
Yeah, cause sometimes he'll say that there's, that not many people reached out also
Right.
for some of the funding,
Right.
so.
Yeah, so. Okay, anything else that you wanna share with us this morning?
One thing I haven't shown you is a sample of our medals.
Oh,
I don't know if you folks know that, we hand out medals for the 5 competitions. So the, kids that do the dancing, they get medals, and the heavy events, the swords. Well, actually, toddlers, they don't do medals, I don't believe.
Yes.
Those got some weight to them.
They are very nice.
Some of the grants that we've already applied for, we're looking at trying to get downstairs to come for the, we want to increase our family activities, family fun activities, and try maybe promote more family orientated, community orientated sort of, events or, like tournaments or something. We approached rugby tournament, people, to see if maybe they were able to join us. This year not, doesn't sound like it, but potentially for next year, they have a jamboree and their jamboree's the following weekend. And, yeah, so, and also we're looking at getting some food runners to be able to increase our, quantity of food that we can be offering at the festival. And, it's kind of, we're getting the juices flowing and trying to figure out what all can we benefit from, what we can get.
Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
One of the things that I also had mentioned before is, and I know one of our other festivals does it up at Levo, but they do put, now, I'm not sure with the regulations, but they do put signs along the highway. And I know sometimes that they'll get plucked off, but, could be something to look into, and I know that, cause you have the lane
Provincial
traffic.
highway, I'm told, is very difficult, especially 59.
Yeah.
But if they're local roads, that's easier.
That's easier. Just something at the highway, cause there's lots of lake traffic, people going by, it's just the visual too, everybody turns over and looks into East Selkirk thinking what's going on there, if there was something along the highway or.
Yeah.
How much do Duce do a great, the billboard,
Yes.
get brought in the mobile?
Right. That's one thing that we really need to do is increase our advertising and representing on who we are. Because not a lot of people know who we are, right? Yeah. Locally we do, but not, more
Right.
Manitoba-wise, provincial-wise, right?
Yeah. Okay, so anything else, ladies, this morning?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Oh, other than, we would like a suggestion for an honorary chieftain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We will think about it.
Okay. An honorary chieftain is like a citizen of the year, they've contributed lots to our community and, and is an important person. I recognize as an important person in our community.
I'm making a note of it, and I think Councillor Strang is also making a note of it, so we'll see if we can come up with a couple of people and we'll just give you the names perhaps and you can approach them.
Yes.
Because we know not very much about what the chieftain is responsible for, so.
Right. And they don't have to be of Scottish descent.
Right.
Somebody that is important in our community.
Okay, perfect.
Mayor, just
Go right ahead.
two things, I think, since you're here presenting today on the agenda is also the grant request that was made by the Island Gatherings, as well as your request for the food containers. Did you want to speak to any of that and let council know about that?
About the food containers, we have asked Selkirk District and Community, I believe it's just over $3,000.
Yeah.
In past years, we had borrowed an electric food warmer from a local group, and that was not a possibility last year, so it took some scrambling and what have you to accommodate our food needs, and was a little bit challenging and stressful at times. So this year we would like to, acquire our own and store it at East Selkirk there so that we can be self-sufficient and provide more food on hand so we can make more money and be more sustainable. And then enhanced share with other community groups there. And then also have the food carriers and stuff, we're transporting food and stuff, and again, share with local groups and stuff, so that everybody in the community can benefit as well.
And you received some indication from Selkirk Community District Foundation for their support on this?
We had actually had a meeting with them, yeah, got some tips and stuff on how to fill out the application and that, and sent it to Brendan to look over as well. And so I think we tried well at it this year. You know, we're still pretty new, but yeah, we're trying our best to do bigger and better and be sustainable, and yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted the council to be aware of that because it's a report coming forward later, which will be recommending that we do the intermediary and that in advance of receiving any approvals from the Selkirk District Community Foundation, they'd like the RM to front end the costs so that we can receive the money later, because usually it's a timing issue with the Selkirk Community District Foundation.
Right, yes, I believe at the end of April or May is when we were supposed to find out if we were awarded any granting. And then they would require I think they call it Donnie letter, D-O-N-N-E-E, Donnie letter, with where
You receive the money on our behalf and.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Donation.
donation letter.
Yes.
Go ahead, Counselor Spicer, and then Counselor Strang.
So refresh my memory. Have we received their grant application for this year?
Yes, and it's also on the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And just for clarification, so for the grant application of these food warming containers, they were gonna be kept at East Selkirk
Arena, yes.
Arena, and are they for use then after, is it just an area that you guys would just be using, or would they be open to use for other
Other
events?
other events, yes,
Okay.
yes. And I'm not sure if Blake would be willing to oversee that, or if they would contact St. Margaret to arrange for the use of it.
They very graciously store a bunch of our stuff there.
Good to know that too.
Okay, I'd like to thank you ladies very much for coming in today and sharing all that information. Those pictures were great, and looking forward to the event this year.
Yes, excellent, and everyone is invited.
Yes, I think Deepak has the tickets, or he's passed them off to Heather
We'll
to
make sure that all
hand out.
council gets a copy.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
and good luck with everything, and
Thank you very much.
So Brendan will be in touch as to the decisions of council from today.
Thank you very much. Would you like me to leave you some extra cookies for snacks later?
I think that's a good idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
a little plate to leave a couple.
Oh, you have Tony here.
Yeah, just give them a plate, they can just off of the TV.
Right.
Scott is bringing you a plate to leave a couple of cookies on for us.
Oh, you can have the whole box.
Yeah.
No, don't you
Yes,
have
yes,
anywhere else
we have
to go?
another box.
Oh.
Well, then the plates for Jennifer, so she can have a couple.
There you go.
I didn't bring cookies, that was an error on my part.
I'm next, how do I follow this? Sorry. Thank you.
Thanks very much,
So
ladies.
Jennifer, you won't have to go on Zoom, the counselor's not on,
Oh, okay,
so you could just use the click share.
okay, perfect,
That'll make
thank
it
you.
easier. So next on the agenda, Madam Mayor, is Red River Planning District, and Jennifer Ferguson, the Executive Director of the Red River Planning District, is here to present on the 2025 annual report, as well as the RRPD strategic plan going forward.
Thank you for that, Deepak.
And we'll let Jennifer set up.
Yep. Whenever you're ready, Jen.
Thank you. Just a quick share to connect here.
Okay with this?
I think so.
We'll make any changes. I think it's been around longer than 20 years.
I guess I'm gonna.
I've said generations, but the generation I had to look up is considered 20 years.
Okay, well, I guess the only thing is, I guess it was said in one of the, or when we were doing that other presentation there, like, I've been around when the library was being built, so it's kind of like, do I wanna put something in here, like, I've been
Yeah.
around since the beginning of time?
Sure.
I just don't know where else to put it in.
Yeah, I'd be proud to be around since the beginning of time.
Some days I feel that way.
I definitely feel that way.
Jen, whenever you're ready, we're just having a little sidebar here.
I always struggle with quick share because it shows presenter view, but it is what it is.
No, it can, it's showing presenter view, just, go on the bottom there and click on the other one of those options at the
Yeah,
bottom.
but I need my notes.
Pardon? Oh, you need your notes.
Okay, it is what it is, that's okay. Well, good morning and thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very happy to present some information. As your CAO mentioned, providing an overview of 2025 as well as some operational highlights, and then looking at our strategic plan, which focuses on the next 5 years. So just a snapshot in terms of what we saw in 2025. Overall, we saw a 10% increase in building permit issuance with over 1,200 permits being issued. Inspections were over 10,000, and that was a 15% increase. 300 planning applications were managed, and that resulted in the creation of 220 new lots. And complaints were down 74%. So these indicators reflect increased development activity, improved service consistency, and strengthened communication. If we look at total permits issued from 2018 to present, you can see that there's some ebbs and flows. In 2023, we saw a reduction in permit issuance, and that was largely due to an increase in interest rates. And then in 2024 and 2025, we start to see permit issuance increase. In terms of the types of permits that were issued, as I mentioned, there was a 10% increase, but more notably, there was a 26% increase in single-family dwelling permit issuance. So 90 more homes were issued last year compared to the previous year. Decks were also up considerably last year, as well as commercial. With that commercial increase, there was approximately an 18% increase in commercial permit issuance. And when we look at commercial permits, that includes new construction, renovation, plumbing, signs, as well as occupancy permits. Inspection activity was high last year with a 15% increase. However, we were able to manage inspection processing times due to stabilization of improvements and workforce planning. So we were able to meet our 2-day turnaround time. Even with that increase, we did implement a series of changes in 2025 that took effect June of last year, which reduced the number of inspections for single-family dwellings. But as I mentioned, we saw an overall increase in permit issuance, specifically with single-family dwellings. So reductions in inspections will likely not be realized until a full year of that being implemented. In terms of planning activities, we processed 300 planning applications, and those vary from conditional uses, variances, subdivisions, as well as rezonings. And we do have a partnership with the RM of St. Clements, where reports for conditional use and variances are prepared by your staff, which help us focus on the bigger picture projects and help us in times of reduced resources as well. If we look at types of applications received, you can see overwhelmingly it's variances that are being dealt with. More specifically, we can see that St. Clements has the most applications processed year over year if we look at a 5-year average. So that requires continuing monitoring to align resources appropriately. Looking at transactions by municipality, last year, West St. Paul accounted for 53%, followed by St. Clements at 17%, St. Andrews at 14%, and East St. Paul at 11%.
Transactions, that's just permit transactions?
And planning, so it's a total of, anybody that filed an application at our office for planning or permits. In terms of enforcement, we enforce the development plan, the zoning bylaw, as well as the Manitoba Building Code. And in 2025, there were 47 notices of violation issued. Notices of violation now move directly to that process. Previously, there was a request for compliance, then a notice of violation, and then the order. So we reduced the request for compliance, moving directly to the notice of violation to help increase turnaround times with respect to enforcement compliance. The updated building bylaws have assisted with that, and there are fee structure changes that help strengthen accountability. We do have some enforcement constraints with one full-time officer, but we work closely with our member municipalities and their bylaw enforcement officers as well. In terms of complaints, we processed 15 complaints last year, and that's a 74% reduction compared to last year. Nearly half of those complaints required no corrective action, and most were dealt with within 1 business day. Primary categories include zoning interpretation, building code matters, and communication. So the reduction reflects improved service clarity, stronger communication, and consistent processes. So this is an important indicator of service quality and public trust. I think a lot of it had to do with the service improvements that we implemented last year as well, which I'm going to talk about here in the operation and governance highlights. So we worked really hard last year, did some heavy lifting to harmonize 5 of the building bylaws. That was a significant undertaking, and that resulted in process improvements with respect to plan review, reducing plan review times, and inspections, reducing times with respect to inspection turnaround times. And we did have an extensive communication strategy with the building and development community that resulted in no complaints with those process changes. We worked to align our processes with the performance standard regulation, strengthened our relationship with the industry through the Manitoba Home Builders, and enhanced communication through bulletins, AI tools, and instructional videos. And then finally, looking at professional development and workforce investment. So these actions strengthened governance, consistency, and long-term organizational stability. Before I move on to the strategic plan piece, I'm wondering if there's any questions in relation to that.
Go ahead, Rob.
On the complaints, 15 complaints, the communication portion, there's no detail on what that might be. I know it would be difficult, it's not logged every time someone, if their complaint is a communication one, is it, I haven't got a call back, is it, when am I gonna get my permit, like, what are they saying that the communication is lacking if they're complaining?
Yeah, how is it being measured? So, the way that complaints are currently tracked is if it comes across my desk. If somebody calls and said, hey, I'm really irritated, or comes into my office, some of it related to public hearing notices, some of it related to not understanding processes or lack of transparency. We could have been more transparent with some of the processes. Really, we didn't receive complaints with respect to turnaround times on inspections or permit issuance. It was mostly about transparency and understanding processes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Scott.
So Jennifer, can you just do a little rundown on what harmonizing the building bylaws actually did?
Absolutely.
Example.
For sure.
You know, we rely on, the engineer now
Yes.
to make sure that the foundations are done correctly.
That's right. So, first of all, it updated the bylaws because some of them are more than 50 years old, and there were inconsistencies throughout the building bylaws. But the primary change, as Councillor Spicer alluded to, was the change in responsibility. So much like the city of Winnipeg, now that the building bylaw does is transfer responsibility for both the design and the inspection of foundations to the engineer of record. Previously, our staff were reviewing those items as part of the plan review piece, as well as inspecting those items. So that responsibility has been transferred to the designer of record, or typically the engineer. So that eliminates inspections that we have to do, that eliminates plan review that we have to do, and significantly improves efficiencies and turnaround times. So that was the major undertaking that was initiated through that harmonization piece.
That piece alone, because I dealt with that years ago when we built, is huge. That we need the responsibility to the professionals who are drawing it up, who are putting their name and stamp on something. Why review it? Right?
Exactly.
That is so huge.
Yeah, and that's made considerable improvements in our processing times. Single-family dwellings under the performance standard regulation need to be issued within 10 business days. We're reporting on calendar days, and right now we're certainly in single digits and have maintained it under single digit in a calendar day.
Okay, anybody else have anything on this part? I guess you can go ahead, Jen.
Thank you. So moving on to our strategic plan and our objectives for the next 5 years. So how was the plan developed? It was grounded in extensive communication with the board, CAOs, councils, staff, builders, and developers. Stakeholders recognized that there were significant service improvements last year. They wanted us to continue on that path, but also look at proactive modernization. And the priorities within the plan reflect that input. Who are we? Our mission is straightforward: to provide expert planning and community development support to municipalities and the public. That means clear guidance, consistent standards, and professional responsive service. Everything in the strategic plan supports that. Our vision is to become modern, collaborative, financially stable, and a regionally respected planning organization. That means modernizing our planning framework, strengthening municipal partnerships, maintaining a skilled workforce, and ensuring financial sustainability. This vision reflects that stakeholder input and positions us for long-term stability. So our 6 priorities coming out of that: another harmonization project, modernizing the zoning bylaws and harmonizing the zoning bylaws. And we know that this has been a priority for our member municipalities for a very long time. And due to resource constraints, we've been limited in moving forward with that. I'm very happy to report that we have accepted a proposal from WSP, and we are working with them as we speak to move forward on the preparation of a draft bylaw for each one of our member municipalities. The deliverable is incredibly ambitious at 3 months, but again, that's a draft zoning framework for each member municipality. From there, our member municipalities will have to consider what their next steps are, and we can certainly help prepare a path forward in terms of what that might look like. Second, looking at financial sustainability, and in practice that means maintaining stable reserves, monitoring revenue trends, and ensuring consistent delivery even when development activity slows. Third is workforce capacity, ensuring we have the staff and expertise to meet servicing needs. Looking at, as well, structured collaboration and formal working groups to address complex planning needs, enhancing our performance metrics, and then communication and awareness. I think that's critical in the day and age of social media, and making sure that there's information available to the public, understanding processes and what's coming forward. In terms of our priorities for 2026, that zoning harmonization is going to be a significant undertaking, so that's going to be a major priority. We are also looking at digitizing our planning applications, much like we did with the permit side of things, moving over to a digitization of planning applications, which means applicants can apply online. They have to. They can apply online, but what that allows us to do is improve efficiencies in our office, as there is some automation that goes along with that, as well as clear and consistent communication with both the applicant and other parties like our member municipalities or provincial agencies. Ongoing collaboration with the development industry as well as our municipal partners continued commitment to customer service, and then supporting councils through transitions. We know it's an election year, working with our member municipalities to prepare training and onboarding packages. So these initiatives position the RRPD well for sustained growth, operational maturity, and reliable service delivery.
Quick
So what is
question.
that? Yeah.
The zoning you're gonna be working on, what about the development plan?
That is also
Don't
something,
sort of-
they do interconnect, absolutely, and that's something that is going to have to be looked at, not this year, but down the road. We definitely need to give some consideration to revisions and modernizations. Ideally, you would review the development plan every 5 years, so it is due for a review.
Is that something, I know Derek before he left was working on that.
He was working on the zoning bylaw
Okay.
piece, so that was his focus, but that is something that we have done internally in the past when we have had resources and staff. So as a sideline, I'm also very happy to report that we will be filling the manager position. As of Monday, we'll have a familiar face rejoining us, Santan will be coming back to fill the manager piece, and depending on resources, that may be something that we can do internally.
The zoning or the development?
The development plan, not the zoning, the
Yeah.
zoning is way too,
Yes.
yeah.
But that's where I'm going with my question, is, in my view, I mean, this is just my personal view, the only way something can get done like that is when you dedicate a staff person to it. Their sole job, that's all they're doing there, is working on the development plan, Monday to Friday. It's ownership, it's theirs, they take ownership of it, you know what I mean? It's all they focus on, and in that way, you can get things done quicker, because it's not being piecemeal, he's doing it, she's doing it. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely, and I think that's the process that we took last time when Derek was
Yeah.
working on it.
Scott and then Sandra.
Okay, before my question. We're doing the zoning bylaw because ours is 20 years old since it's been done. The development plan was done in 2020.
Yeah, I was gonna say 19, but yeah.
So that's why we're concentrating on that right now. And right now, we hired someone to do the zoning bylaw because we didn't have that designated person.
Yeah.
And we're 3 months time limit, right? Because we don't wanna be doing it October the 15th.
Yeah.
Just going back on the slide before. So the cloud permit planning module. Are we still gonna be able to continue our partnership with the RM doing some of those variances and conditional uses? When this comes in?
Absolutely, and it'll be easier, because
Okay.
we can add, the staff person as a member, and they can review and have access to it in an automated fashion, so it's easier to share and collaborate.
Good, thank you.
Go ahead, Counselor Strang.
I was, Scott sort of answered some of the stuff about the zoning bylaw, but one question, you said a 3-month turnaround on that. So when did that start, or is it, so what's the sort of the
This-
ETA?
This week, so
This week? Oh.
it just started this week, so it, again, very ambitious, but the intent is to have a very quick turnaround time on that.
Yeah, because Scott brought up a good point about leaving it till October, and I know that it's election year, and if you have new faces sitting around here,
Yeah,
it's, like, I remember when I first came on, it was a learning experience, and I'm thinking, how did I even vote on anything when we don't really know, but to get it done, and we know what we've been going through on different
of course.
applications, so.
Of course, and like I said, the intent is to have that draft before each member municipality, and then it's choose your own adventure, how each municipality wants to move forward, because there might be different plans of action based on the municipality.
Go ahead, Counselor Sutherland.
Yeah, just going back, talking about the engineered plans, which like the individual itself has to have an engineer,
Yes,
and then you don't have to. So, what if, let's keep it small, the guy's building a garage and he's pouring a pad. He decides to do all that work himself, then you would have to send, or does he have to still hire an engineer?
so it depends, so there are some prescriptions within the building code that would allow them to follow that design. That's not typical, though, I would say. Most people are required to hire an engineer because they're going outside those prescribed requirements. But if somebody follows the requirements of the building code in that instance, then we would have to complete the review and the inspection, but I would say that's a one-off and not something we typically see.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anything else on this part? I think you're good to move forward.
Okay. So we saw measurable improvement in 2025 with higher service volume and a 74% reduction in complaints, and that tells us that our processes and communication are strengthening. And maintaining that progress depends on early communication. So if issues arise at the council level, forwarding them promptly with clear details allows us to triage quickly and investigate, and often prevents escalations. So what you can expect from us are timely responses, thorough investigations, and, excuse me, let me scroll down here. And timely acknowledgement. So our shared objective is simple: fewer escalations, faster resolution for residents and builders, and continued service improvements. So in summary, we saw that there were measurable improvements in 2025 with increased development activity, improved service stability, and significantly reduced complaints. And our strategic plan, builds on that foundation with a clear focus on modernization, accountability, and partnership. We remain committed to supporting each one of our member municipalities with professional and responsible development services. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
Questions on this part from council? Looks like you might be off the hook, Jennifer.
Well, I thank you so much for your time today, and next time I'll bring cookies.
Deepak, did you have anything you wanted to touch on?
That's 5 boxes of cookies when you go around.
You're good. Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you so
in.
much.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You
I
as
believe
well.
you're going to St. Andrews later
St.
today.
Andrews tonight, yeah, just for some planning support. There's an application there tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, Jen. Okay, so now if we go back to our agendas under new and other business, I believe we're at 6.2.
Yes, we are. Just going to refresh to make sure. There we go. So the next item on the agenda, Madam Mayor, is it's dealing with our service agreement with Delco. For our water treatment plant, what we have is we just increased the size, and I'll walk you through the report. And so we have our membrane system that's specifically calibrated and requires regular maintenance and management, and it's also used. We have a servicing agreement with Delco, who is the supplier, to be able to then train our own staff to be able to do regular maintenance and preventative maintenance and testing as necessary. We've gone back to them as part of our water treatment plant management and looked at what would be the options available. One is how many hours for remote support, for service reports. So this is providing our reports that we are required to provide to the province of Manitoba as part of our licensing requirements, as well as any on-site support when something happens and we need them to be here, as well as doing some regular maintenance such as cleaning and repairs that are part of this. They've come back with a proposal of approximately a 3-year agreement or a 2-year agreement. As you can see, there's definitely an advantage of going to the 3-year for the number of hours that we would be able to receive for on-site, as well as the amount of hours for doing those other works. And since this is costs that are directly related with the utility, they will be eventually covered as part of the utility related costs. But since we normally do a 3-year budgeting cycle, we're recommending to proceed with the 3-year agreement with them for a total cost of $55,000 for 3 years, as opposed to a 2-year, which would have been $36,000. But it's the same dollar amount, so it gives us price guarantee for 3 years, aligns with our budget process, as well as it gives us significantly more hours to utilize. So we're recommending to be moving forward with Delco servicing agreement.
Questions, go ahead, Counselor Sutherland.
When they have these on-site services reports, so, the treatment plant operators, are they all with them,
Our treatment operators that would need to be there would be there with them.
all of them, okay?
Not necessarily all of them, because we have some backup staff, and then we have,
Well,
some
the regular people.
Yes, the one that's regular, like the one who's our, expert, one of them has been, gets certified. And the other two are, relief on the weekends and after hours, so depending on who's available, they would be there.
Okay, because I know when I was still there, that it helps when, they're there explaining
Correct,
everything.
yes. Yeah, that's the intent, so that when they're here, that
Right,
we have staff there so that they can learn from them and then.
exactly, but, as long as they have as much, I understand there's some, they stand by it.
Mhm.
It makes big difference when you're listening to everything, I think.
Yes, I agree.
So the more people that can be there at that time is, to me, is important.
I'll make sure that I have that discussion with our leader and
Thank
Kevin
you.
as well. Okay,
Go
so,
ahead, Counselor Spicer.
I have a hypothetical question for our CEO.
sure,
So if we ended up putting in the last train, I'm assuming we would have, a separate contract for doing that type of work that would be separate than from this.
the installation of an additional train, yes,
Okay, but then if we, let's say it's installed in the second year of this contract, does that keep this contract at the same amount? I am assuming that it would, even though it's an additional train.
yes, because this is more of a maintenance contract.
Yeah, it's
than-
like an hourly, so it wouldn't
Exactly.
really change this.
No,
Yeah,
unless we felt that we needed more hours for some reason.
thank you.
Anybody else have anything on this one? If we have a resolution, we can bring it forward, please.
Be it resolved that council accept the recommendation of the manager of water and waste authorizing the CAO to enter into a 3-year extended servicing and support agreement with Delco Water to be funded from the operating budget of the East Selkirk Water Utility.
Can I have a mover? Counselor Spicer, Counselor Sutherland seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next one we have on our agenda is the contract for the annual groundwater monitoring at Lebo and for waste transfer stations.
Yes, Madam Mayor. So the groundwater monitoring is a requirement, a licensing requirement for not only the landfill, but also all our transfer stations. We're required, we have 5 different locations, 5 different wells that we do testing, and it can only be completed by engineers who do the testing of the water and also report back. And it's something that we have to report back on. For the next round from 26 and 27 monitoring, we've went out to tender and received bids from Dillon, KGS, Tetra, and Stantec. And for the price, what we're receiving was best competitive bid was from Dillon Consulting, who is presently also the construction contractor, so that's probably the most experienced, especially dealing with our landfill, which is the most important testing. They are definitely the lowest bidder, and what we're recommending is to go with Dillon to do this. I should note also, as we made a commitment to address our AROs, which is the asset retirement obligations, as part of our requirements of the provincial government for any future assets. You need to have a plan to address how you're going to retire them, even if that's going to be 30 to 50 years or longer into the future. In this case, that's what will happen in the landfill. This will help to do that level of calculations.
Go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
So for our transfer stations, will there ever be a time when we don't have to do monitoring anymore? Because we haven't really been burying anything there for years.
Go ahead, Chris. If you want to answer that, I can, if you can.
No, you, go ahead. You'll do a better job.
It's always dependent on the environmental licensing, of course, the province of Manitoba, but you have to remember, just because it's not just about burying, it could be the leaching of any of the material that's stored outside. And so, I don't have any specific requirement as to when they would stop. Obviously, that's where the EARO becomes a discussion point, because that would be your asset retirement obligation. So once you've retired a particular asset, you've addressed all those other issues.
So I'm assuming that at some point in time, our licensing needs renewal. Is that correct?
That's something that I have to take back and verify.
Okay, so could you do that, please? And then maybe that's the time when we ask the question I just asked.
Yes.
Cause, yes, I understand if it's in your license, you have to do it. That's why. And in some ways, it's a good thing, don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering if, you know, if we've capped the old cells correctly, at some point in time, there shouldn't be more leachate going down because the water is supposed to go off, right?
Correct.
So it's just a question.
I think ground monitoring is for a lot of different purposes on top of just not the leachate going in, but also, long-term effects of having any of those landfills.
Like in some ways, it's good that we're doing it because it's showing that nothing is detrimental, right? So there's always that. Both sides.
I'm kind of
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
surprised, like we have, as you know, Debbie, like we had our, the Limo garbage dump, well, that's what it was.
Mhm.
And at Charlie's, that's two, but, they're not, transfer stations anymore. They monitored before, but those are, you know, everything went, and everything. From carcasses to oils to, it's just everything. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if they know that those, existing old landfill sites are still there, but you'd think they would have, I guess, because there's activity around their transfer stations, I don't know what the reason is, but I'm not saying that we contact them, because that would be two more they'd have to monitor, but.
Don't make eye contact.
So I'm just kind of curious why it never did, but you know, the stuff that went in the,
Yeah.
and it doesn't go away, you know. I understand what you're saying, the leachate, but just, so I could, and there's those garbage, dumps, I'll call them, there was no liners, you just dug a hole.
Yeah.
And well, the one in East Selkirk here too, you know, same thing, and there was a.
Well, some of it used to go away because they used to get burned once a week.
Well,
So it went into the air.
you're right.
And there is a process of looking at brownfield, those are considered brownfields.
Yeah.
And there's a brownfield remediation plan. And as the one in East Selkirk, we did do a brownfield remediation plan, took a look at it, did the testing, did the verification. And through the funding with the federal government, and then had created a report on which lands, what could be completed on them. Will there be landfills that were created 20, 50, 100 years ago? Yes. But I think as we move forward, they require a certain level of continuous monitoring. I just don't know when it would stop. That's a good question. I'll look into it.
I mean, at some point in time, they can say that, you know, all these old landfill sites have to be dug up and hauled away to a site with a, I hope not, that would just be a,
Well, they would take a look at, that's the brownfield remediation plan. They would take a look at the groundwater, they would take a look at the soil testing and see if it's spread. And if not, you know, because each one is unique in its own factor, right? Some were ash fields, some were, as you said, carcasses and lots of other things.
everything.
And so it's just dependent on, and is it impacting the groundwater at all?
Yeah.
Some of them used to go in old gravel pits. Well, that was probably the worst
Yeah.
place, right?
It just soaks in like,
Granular.
you know, lots of
Just
others,
used to
you've got a
be
lot
that.
of clay that's kind of stopping, but you're right, Scott. But, and this is not just us, it's all over
It's
Canada, all over Manitoba's, I hate to think how many old landfill sites, that's just the way it was done. But, like, I know 3 here that, are old garbage dumps that we wouldn't wanna contact them, cause then they would have to dig, they'd have to dig wells, I mean, dig down and monitor those wells, but just wondering why they never looked into that. I'm sure they have it on their scope, they know where all the landfills were. I think,
Yes, I think so, and I think that's something, just a matter of priorities, province of Manitoba or the federal government.
yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, let us move on here. I think we are at,
Well, we have to,
Probably need a mover and a seconder.
right, but we're at the groundwater, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
so be it resolved that council accept the recommendations of manager of water and waste and award the RFP PW 2026-03 to Dillon Consulting Limited as a most cost-efficient qualified bidder at a total fixed cost of $34,750, excluding GST of $17,375, excluding GST at $17,375 per year for 2026 and 2027, authorizing the CAO to enter into an agreement for completion of all annual groundwater monitoring requirements.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, second, please. Counselor Spicer, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, moving on to 6.4, signing of a development agreement.
Finally.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the development agreement for the Coville site here with the 110 units. We've been able to complete the negotiations and get everything ready for this development agreement. I just wanted to, since this is a development agreement, we can't show a lot of the details associated with it, but I wanted to be able to show you what,
Pretty significant drawings.
correct. And so what this is these are all detailed drawings, and as part of this, they're required to, you will notice that the development agreement to meet all their parts. The important things to note in this is that they are required to do all the interior roadworks themselves. Since they are interior roadworks, we're not required to, and we don't normally require a letter of credit for those interior roadworks because of the responsibility of the landowner for their own roads. Any exterior roadworks or any roadworks that we take as ownership, we of course ask for a letter of credit associated with it. In this case, the developer will be responsible, as you know. They are receiving a temporary access off of Coville until such time the roundabout is complete or when their entire development is complete. They're doing this into 3 major phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Sorry, 4 phases. And so, as part of the 4 phases, they'll be providing us their connection fees and so forth as the phases develop. As the phases develop, they'll also be required to upgrade and develop the road. So the first phase, they will require a road from Coville going north, from Coville going north, towards the first entrance on their subdivision over here. And they'll continue to have an entrance also off of Coville. That's the two entrances that are required. When they get to phase two, they'll be required to finish and complete the next entrance. The developer has requested that they only do a letter of credit for the first part and not the last part. That's contrary to normal. And so I said I would bring it to council as part of the discussion, but the administration's recommendation is that we stick with what are the requirements. The development agreement states basically that their engineer determines the cost, and according to those costs, they provide us a letter of credit accordingly. I think that that's a reasonable ask, and the other part of this is, since this road can benefit other lands, there is a cost recovery available, built into this development agreement over the 20 years for this development.
Where you're saying the road to the east is coming from Coville, not the temporary one, but the other one?
This road here, correct?
Yeah, right there. He's not required to show the turning circle, because that's something we're doing, but is that road going to be positioned in the exact position to meet our turning circle?
It's been designed taking the turning circle into consideration
Thank you.
to have the least amount of costs when the turning circle
Yes,
is placed.
that's my question,
So it'll tie in.
It'll tie in.
That's right, like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this is
I
all,
was
like,
wondering.
we don't see the turning circle yet visually, but yet he's required to put this major road in, and I'm just hoping when the turning circle comes, we're like, oh shit, we're up by 15 feet here.
No. That's why we decided where the road had to be.
Okay,
We are deciding where the road is, and this is being reviewed by Stantec, our engineers, as part of that process. And so, when the second entrance comes into the subdivision, so then all access will be off of this new road. Whether we call it Corey North, or whatever you wanna call it, I think, at the end of the day, the other east entrance and exit area will be closed off, as it was only a temporary.
This one here, with this.
No, the one in the further,
Up.
yeah, the further west.
Yeah. And this one is the last one to be the entrance,
to the north.
no, is there an entrance over? How many entrances is there? What's this one at the end here?
That's the second entrance. So once they get finishing phase two, or the beginning of phase two, they'll have to complete this.
Yeah, that's the north end.
Yeah, the north entrance, and then there's a little southern entrance, so off of Coville, all access will be off of Coville for this entire
Yeah.
development.
Okay,
Or, sorry, off of this new road into Coville. As opposed to, this is Coville here,
Yeah.
and that'll be closed off. So where there's the residential house there, that was one of the things that council wanted to address when we had the public hearing, was there will be no
Yeah.
accesses there eventually.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so back to this letter of credit. So the letter of credit doesn't really tie up his money, he just has to pay a little more to have this letter of credit, right?
There's a cost, having a letter of credit with the bank, for the cost of that, there's a cost by the number of years. But again, it's up to the developer to decide that.
Well, okay, so let's ask the direct question. So if we only do a letter of credit for the first part to the first approach and don't do the second one, what's really saying that he has to build the rest of it?
Correct.
And I guess the other side of that is it creates urgency.
Correct.
Yeah, no, he needs to do the letter of credit for all of it, in my opinion.
Which is normal, like you say.
Standard of what we request for any other subdivision.
So
That
those
is
other
the-
two roads, that north one coming off that main road coming in, even both those roads, when they come in, I'll guarantee you that guy in the next field, when Dale puts that road in, he'll be applying, because now he's got two stubs.
And then Dale will get some of his money back to build that road.
Correct.
So it's all good and.
Yeah, and we've, you know, we've, I feel that the RM has provided a good reasonable approach of 20 years of recovery.
Awesome. And I say finally because we've been waiting for this for a long time to actually see this, you know, development plan agreement.
And what you'll see is on the west, on the south side of this development, closer to Coville, all those buildings are all single story so that they don't affect any sight lines of the neighbor as requested.
What's the total again? How many units?
150,
110 units.
110.
55 duplexes.
Pardon me?
55 duplexes.
A lot of it,
Each with a little small yard associated with it.
most of it will be rentals.
Correct.
All of it?
All will be rented.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he would be adverse to somebody saying we wanna buy it, that probably would be acceptable, but rentals is more achievable for most people.
He would have to change his, he'd have to come back for some subdivision approval,
Oh, okay,
at which point,
okay,
because to sell it as individual, you'd have to separate that off from the rest of the property, because this is all on one property,
got it,
ownership right now.
okay. That's how much I am.
I think he's quite aware of that, and I don't think that's a concern at this point. And I think the way that he's sectioned it off in those phases, in the future, you can look at those phases and create a condo plan or something else in the future. If you
Yeah,
want
we
to
could
take a
do
look at
that.
it.
Which then he would have to come back to us for anyway, right, still?
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, for us, we waited for this for a long time. Do you think does he have intentions of starting this?
The reason for doing this development agreement is for him to start this spring as soon as possible, so that he can, because as soon as the development agreement is signed, he has to pay for all the expenses related to the creation of the agreement, then start providing us the connection fees and all those other things that are part of this, so
And,
it's in his best interest to move as quickly as possible on the development agreement.
and just so you know, Dave, Maple Leaf is doing the road, so.
Maple Leaf?
Maple Leaf's doing the road,
Oh,
so it's a good company. That's Maple Leaf.
Yeah, internally and externally.
What's his timeline for all 4 phases? Did he say?
I think he's looking at each phase to finish over the next 1 to 2 years or longer, and again, that's the
I know we've been
motivation.
waiting for this for a long time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
progress, so.
And I think
Yes.
it'll, you know, to be perfectly honest, once he gets started, then what'll end up happening is it'll be a market conditions might dictate somehow. You know, that there is, you know, there's 56 rentals here, it's a different type of a rental market there. And so we'll see how that goes compared to what's being sold for fee simple or single family dwellings in the subdivision to the east here in the Waychuck subdivision. And as well as there are other developments happening in the East Selkirk. So I think it's a matter of what is the uptake, what kind of growth are we going to see in the next so many years? All we know is we still have a housing shortage.
And I can tell you that when you, just saying what you said, when you look at the eclectic mix of operative word options that we have for people when they wanna come to a place to be called St. Clements, it's not synonymous, it's not the same. We've got this type of housing here that's being done to the left. We've got this new one on the curve that we're talking right now, different style of homes. And then we've got Clifford's over there, which is homes, buying homes. So you've got all these options, like they're all different, they're styles, sizes, look, visual, everything.
And you have some very large parcels as well within the same area for anyone that wants. So you have larger, like quarter acre parcels in the Waychuck subdivision. You have larger acre and plus development that's happening off of St. Peters and elsewhere. So there seems to be a consistent approach.
Lots of options.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so just for clarity, letter of credit is going to cover the road internally, the road externally.
No, just the road externally.
Okay, so nothing internally. What about, water and sewer infrastructure internally?
Again, the developer's responsibility. So no letter of credit required.
Okay, so all we have to do then is just ensure that it's done to our standard.
Correct, which
Okay.
they're required to do.
Utility buying charges are paid as per phase?
Correct. At the beginning of the phase.
Okay. Yeah, so. This letter of credit issue isn't that big a deal, really, actually. 'Cause it's only for that stretch of road. Okay, thank you.
So I have a resolution to come forward on this. Whereas Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements approved a duplex development by resolution 2022-342. And whereas the developer needs to enter into a development agreement as a condition of approval, and therefore be able to resolve that the mayor and the chief administrative officer execute the agreement with 101-31056 Manitoba Limited.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Belanger, can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Sutherland, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Before I call a question, I have a question. I guess this is telling us about the development agreement, and I know it's in there about the letter of credit for the road. Should we not have a resolution separate for the payment of that letter of credit?
No, we don't have a separate resolution associated to it. It was a special request of the developer. If council had chosen
Okay,
to do something different than what we normally ask, then we would have asked for a separate resolution of council.
okay, so, got a mover, got a seconder, I'll call the question, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Quick question, Deepak. All the red flags and orange, they're spraying for the lines, like what's all this work for?
I noticed it yesterday, and
It's probably call before you dig requirements because
It's everywhere, it's all through here, it's down a little bit, like it's significant, we just thought. Maybe they were,
I'll have to take a look into why that's happening, whether it's something.
the front yard is like completely is tasing.
it almost looks like they're getting ready to put the turning circle in, like where to start digging, like that's what it looks like to me. Like if you go out there and look, it's the same width as the turning circle.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause it
so
goes
then
into
it's
that.
probably just the engineering work required and to identification of all the services.
Okay,
As well, I thought it might be, I hadn't noticed, when I came in today, but I thought it might be related with the moving of the sign because we're,
That's
it's too much, it's all on the inside too.
if it's all, yeah, I just noticed the other
If you
flags.
read today, it totally encompasses the exact area of the turning
So
circle.
that's probably done by Stan Tech. I'll talk to Kevin about it.
Okay, so if we're gonna move on here, 6.5, Manitoba Highland Gathering.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the resolution related and the report related with what we talked about with Manitoba Highland Gathering when they came forward, which is that they made a request to the Selkirk District Community Foundation. And basically due to the timing issue, they'd like us to be able to receive the funds and then to front end the cost when they get the approval from Selkirk District Community Foundation. And it's for $3,321.90 as identified. And as she mentioned, it was about $3,000 for the new food storage equipment that they're going to use for the dispersion.
Cookies.
So if you're comfortable with that, what I'll do is read the resolution for this. which is, be it resolved that Council of the RM of St. Clements approve the request of Manitoba Highland Gatherings and authorize the RM to act as intermediary for the Selkirk District Community Foundation grant funds related to the food storage container upgrades. Further be it further resolved that the Recreation Manager be authorized to work with the Selkirk and District Community Foundation Executive Director to coordinate proper disbursement of the funds.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, second, please. Counselor Spicer, any further discussion?
I just wanna make a comment,
Sure.
that's why I asked them, and so Blake will be keeping it at the East Selkirk Rec Center. And that's why I asked it, is it usable for other groups? So that was nice that they said yes, that they were gonna get it for mainly for themselves, but it is for use for, so that's
Yeah.
something
It's
to
an
a benefit
advantage.
to our municipality too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, have a mover, have a seconder, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, Madam Mayor, is the Selkirk District Community Foundation support letters. And so three specific groups have requested for support letters, which we prepared. And these are the East Selkirk Hall, the Happy Thoughts School, and the Stony Point Club. East Selkirk Hall is to accept foundation repairs to their, and requesting for funding from the Selkirk Community District Foundation. The other is the Happy Thought School, who are looking at doing wheelchair accessible swings, playground structure, swing set. And the Stony Point Community Club, who are looking at for foundation to replace their doors and do several other sort of repairs in their buildings. And so we have just as a recommendation that we should give letters of support from the RM, and in order to do that, we have a resolution that's come forward. And the resolution is, whereas the three community groups within the Royal Municipality of St. Clements have approached the administration requesting letters of support for their applications to the Selkirk and District Community Foundation grant, specifically the East Selkirk Hall for foundation repairs, Happy Thought School, Parent Advisory Council for construction of a wheelchair accessible swing in their playground, and Stony Point Community Club for door replacement and building repairs. And whereas such letters of support do not constitute a commitment of the RM funds and will assist those groups in securing external and grant funding for projects that benefit RM residents. And whereas the Happy Thought School Parent Advisory Council, PAC, has also requested use of the support letter for additional grant application related solely to the wheelchair accessible swing project. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the recreation manager to issue letters of support on behalf of the RM to East Selkirk Hall, Happy Thought School, PAC, Stony Point Community Club for submission with their Selkirk and District Community Foundation grant applications. And further be resolved that the recreation manager be authorized to permit Happy Thought School, PAC, to utilize the RM support letter for all other grant applications specifically related to the wheelchair accessible swing project.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, Counselor Boulanger seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, so that moves us on to our finances. I don't believe that there were any additions there. Go ahead, Counselor Strang. Oh, the Red River
6
North, yeah.
I just,
Sorry, yeah,
That's
I'm
okay.
looking at my hard copy. It's not on there because we added it today. So, do you want to speak to that
Sure.
one, please?
I just wanted to pass on to council that I reported last time that the Red River North Tourism, their annual general meeting, was March 24th, which was a council meeting, and I did express that anybody from St. Andrews or St. Clements would not be attending because we do have council meetings that day. So they have moved it to March 26th, and that's on a Thursday. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the meeting is at 7:30, and it is in the Gaynor Library.
Okay, and that's what day did you say, the 26th?
Thursday, yes, the 26th, so it is open to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so then,
Moving on to accounts and financial
yeah,
statements.
moving on to the accounts and the financial statements. I don't know who's gonna go to the Red River North Tourism meeting, so we do have our meeting is on the 24th.
Do we have to pass a resolution?
I don't think so unless somebody wants to go that's not on the committee, but even if they are, they can always get a resolution after. Okay, so let's move on to the accounts.
Resolve council approve the March 10th, 2026 list of accounts, check numbers 26000249 to 26000320 in the amount of $499,686.91 for payment.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Sutherland, Counselor Spicer seconds. Any discussions or questions, comments on the list of accounts this time around? Not seeing any hands go up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next one under the accounts are, there's a grant spreadsheet and then the grant for the Highland Gathering.
Yes, Madam Mayor, so the grant for the Highland Gatherings is a grant request, similar to last year. The grant is for $7,000. They requested for the amount for $7,000 last year. We awarded them $7,000 and provided all the necessary documentation and information to support that. And the recommendation of the administration is to approve the grant related with the Manitoba Highland Gatherings. And as you've seen, they've provided the information here as well as they did a presentation today.
Okay, any questions, comments? You want to bring the resolution forward then?
So be it resolved, council approve the following 2026 requested grant, Manitoba Highland Gatherings 2026, $7,000.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, second. Counselor Spicer, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And we have the River East Collegiate Safe Grad has requested a grant.
Yes, same as last year, they've asked for a grant for $1,000 to have their Safe Grad event, and we are recommending approval similar to last year.
Okay, questions, comments? We could have the resolution.
Resolve council approve the following 2026 requested grant, River East Collegiate Safe Grad, $1,000.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Spicer, Counselor Boulanger seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. We don't have any bylaws that we are dealing with today, so we are down to number 9 on our agendas, which is communication for information. And if there's anything that somebody wants to bring forward, Deepak may have something that he may want to share on the RM of East St. Paul zoning bylaw. Not really, no, okay.
On this one, that there's just, they have a non-proceeding resolution with it and that they're proceeding with it later. The information is there for council, and it doesn't really have any kind of an impact on us as a municipality, so this is just the general sharing when there's infrastructure or directly related services that are impacted by any kind of a subdivision in the near, in the abutting municipalities. As what I would like to share is the thank you letter for the municipal site visit from Association of Municipalities who came to our location. They sent us a thank you letter and signed by the president.
Yeah, just having a peek at it here. Okay, so if there's nothing else that anybody wishes to discuss under the info correspondence, we'll move on to council reports. And I'm going to start with Councillor Boulanger today.
Just only I have within our last meeting, our planning meeting was the ARM at St. Andrews that I attended. And as usual, it was a good presentation from a fellow from the Métis Federation. And he gave a really good talk about what they've been doing the last number of years and the money they've been spending. And it was really quite interesting to hear how much capital they put out in the last little while. We're talking big dollars. And it just seems like the more they invest and the more assets they have, the bigger and stronger they're growing. So they seem to be doing smart things with their money. Let's see, but it looks good. so far, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you for that. Counselor Strang, go ahead.
February 27th, I attended with the mayor, some of other fellow councillors, Rec Manitoba Awards Luncheon, and Taylor pardon me, received the award for the Health and Wellbeing Award. Yeah, it was very nice for her to get honored that she received that award, and I think we sent pictures or whatever back to the RM office. St. Andrews also received an award for their community center facility award. St. Adolphe received, and Victoria Hospital received an award. Roger Langlis received, he's a resident of St. Clements, and he got the Prairie Crocus Award also, and that's one of the top awards. On March 4th and 5th, I attended Red River Basin Executive Board retreat meeting. The first day we went over all governing documents, so it was a very long day. And went over policies for US and for Manitoba. And our executive director has announced that he will be leaving in 2.5 to 3 years. So they're already in the works of doing looking for somebody. They don't have a South Basin manager. The North Basin manager is Rebecca up here from Manitoba, but they don't have, so we recommended for him to hire somebody first for that, because they don't know if the person will take on his job or not moving forward. And then going around the table, one of the comments that was made was one of the watershed districts was there. Actually, Arvin was there, and they were talking about living labs. So I wanted to actually get more information on that. I don't know if, Scott, you have anything that through the watershed, so there's something that is offered to the municipalities. But another thing was new developments. They were asking for larger water storage ponds, just the way that the environment's going. So that's already in the US, so it's probably something that's gonna be coming forward to us here. The new watershed district that's for Eastern Manitoba, Winnipeg Water District, and I think Scott's reported on that before. It's, I'm not sure when it's actually starting, whether it's still on review or it's actually that they're gonna be moving some watersheds around. They spoke about soil health, and Aaron Field from Manitoba Agriculture says that we have 120 stations that are measuring throughout Manitoba, measuring for precipitation and for water management. We're a province, so I found that interesting. We are also looking for our chair for the Red River Basin. He is going to be they're having their elections, and he's stepping up to run as a mayor. So if he doesn't make his position, that they're going to be moving Marvin up into the chair position. So, and he'll be coming up 6 months earlier than what he has to. Other than that, that's it right now. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you. All I have is February 26th, South Weed Board meeting. We just had some preliminary budget talks and also some discussions about equipment sales and purchases where Kristen they're gonna purchase a smaller horsepower tractor that they can trailer around. They'll still keep the one big tractor, but they have to go any distance, the time they spend with the tractor, you know, when they go up north and stuff, so it'll be around a 50 horsepower tractor with a flail mower, and she's just gotta get some quotes, but that's what we discussed at the meeting, and that's it.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just before I start, so, Councilor Strang brought up a few things, so the Living Lab project is funded through Agricultural Canada, and what it basically is it puts agriculture producers in with researchers, and they're trying to do better standard operating procedures on farms. But the challenge is that funding has been cut through the federal government as part of that overall cut to all departments that they've been talking about. So for us as an RM to get involved, it's pretty tough. It's more like individual producer driven. And right now it's kind of all up in the air because it sounds like in Manitoba for what the projects that are existing, the funding is still there until 2028. But, for example, like, Portage la Prairie's programs are being cut, Indian Head's being cut. There's 2 or 3 in Quebec that's been cut. There's another one in Saskatchewan that's being cut. So it's still kind of all up in the air what's happening there. As for the Winnipeg River planning or watershed district, I think that's decision hasn't been made yet. There is I mean, it's similar to same process we did, right? They brought out a process, here's the plan, are you in or are you out? And I think what's happened is maybe not everybody is in, which then creates a challenge. So the other thing that might happen is talk about an expansion of our watershed district instead. So I think all of those things are being discussed, but that's kind of where we're at this moment, because the province, I'm not sure if it's with the province or it's with still some of the RMs deciding if they want to be a part of it or not. But there is some concerns. For example, so the province divides up the watershed districts by watershed is what they said. So the question becomes, well, why is the boundary then running down the White Mouse River? Because water runs from the top of the hill down to the river, so why wouldn't it be on top of the hill? Like there's some things that are probably still need some discussion there.
If they make our watershed district bigger, is it gonna be harder to get projects done though? Or do they think it's gonna be more monies that everybody contributes to get stuff done better? Like, has that been thrown in there too, that if they?
Well, yeah, they'd have to pay the similar way we do, right?
Right.
And then it just comes down to, well, you would think then that the federal or provincial funding would be higher. And then we would get more federal funding also through the Prairie Watersheds program. So, it's a good question. I mean, it's still all up in the air. Did I miss anything? from your question?
No, it's good. More information, because everybody just sort of reported quickly there, because you just go around the table. Thank you.
I know the answer is we don't know, but I mean, that's the best they could do at the moment. Okay, so on to my report, February the 24th, we had a Red River Planning District special meeting that I forgot to record on last meeting. The large outcome out of that, you heard in Jennifer's report, is we've hired WSP to do the zoning bylaw updates. February the 25th, we had a Red River Planning District HR committee meeting, which of course I can't really talk to you much about. February the 26th, Gaynor Regional Library, we had a regular meeting. As you know, today we're going to go to the announcement for the GoFunding or GrowFunding. But basically, through their fundraising project, I think we're down to about, well, it's under $10,000. Like what we projected, there's only under $10,000 that we didn't receive. So basically we got the money that we were looking for. The contractor has been chosen, it's Park West, which was good because Park West was the original builder of the building. They were the lowest bidder. The audit has been approved, so you'll be getting that shortly if you haven't got it already, Deepak. March the 5th, we had a Northeastman Health Committee meeting. Very long and interesting meeting, 3 hours. Usually they're about an hour and a half. But interesting because we had representatives from Shared Health there. Because we had concerns about response time for EMS. So these are my notes, don't take them as gospel, because this is me jotting while I'm listening, doing my best. So a few stats. So they, an EMS call is rated from 1 to 5. 1 is serious, 5 not as much. Okay. So on average, level 1 to 3 calls, the ambulance is there on average. Okay, this is through the whole of IERHA. About 17 minutes. All calls, so this is level 1 to 5 now. The average is about 51 minutes. Now you gotta remember, like, this is everywhere from, like, we've got Reynolds in this area all the way up into Fisher Branch, and like it's a huge area. Okay. So, of course, there was a lot of discussion around that because there are magic times for certain things like heart attack or stroke or something like that. Of course, those are 1 to 3, right? So they're in the shorter time period. In order to really see what that is, like, you almost need more information. Right? Yeah, you need, because, yeah, okay, a call could go out in Beausejour and it could be there in 3 minutes. for example.
That's what I was gonna say, it'd be nice to have data on our specific,
Yeah.
more micro areas.
So, so that was part of the discussion. And then, just so everyone knows, in our area, call numbers are going up in about single digit, percentages, so I think they said 7 to 8% year over year. Which doesn't sound like much, but it is. So going back to that discussion, so they did give us a couple of examples, Beausejour. On a high priority call, the average is about 9 minutes. And then 90% of the time, the average call over all of them are 33 minutes.
In Beausejour or
No, everywhere.
everywhere, okay.
There was some discussion about some issues with dispatching, that's between 911 and the EMS system, but, they're working on that. Then it changed to lift assist calls. So as you know, or maybe you don't, we were always concerned about lift assist calls. Then they started paying $495, and now they've quit paying $495. So that's, we spent a significant amount of time talking about that. Beausejour said they had 7 of them in the last month. Now, the discussion centers around, it's challenging, right? So if an ambulance goes to a home and it's a larger person and 2 of them can't handle it, what's the expectation then? You're gonna call another ambulance, take it out of service to come and help the first one? So now you got 2 ambulances there. Or should the fire department be doing the assist? Because then that ambulance is still ready to go. And then, of course, the discussion goes to, well, yeah, but now my fire department's not able to go because they're doing this, you know, and there was quite a discussion. It's, you know, it's kind of an offload to us. There was also discussion about there's no training in Eastern Manitoba for EMS. And they could do it probably very easily at Pinawa, cause they have training facilities at the old site there.
Do you mean training for new recruits or training for current staff?
Training for new ones, cause they're short.
Yeah, because Criticare does it and Brandon does it.
Yeah. But that's nowhere in Eastern Manitoba.
Well,
right?
Criticare's in Winnipeg, but,
Yeah.
okay.
So, there's a 25% vacancy rate in rural EMS right now.
They are hiring, right?
Yeah. Some of the barriers for training have been fixed. There's apparently some being trained in Arborg right now, so that was part of the question, but apparently now, you work in the city as a paramedic or you work out here, you make the same money. Before it wasn't that way. And that was part of the problem, cause you have a paramedic work out here until the spot came open in the city and they were gone, right? So now the pay is similar. Housing, of course, is still a challenge for everything in the rural area related to healthcare. There's much more, but that's good enough. That's the reason why it was a 3-hour meeting.
Go ahead, Counselor Strang.
So Scott, they were paying for lift assistance, now they're not, so the $4.95. So why did they quit paying for it? Did they say for the reason, like, was it getting abused?
I think
It was
it
getting
was-
too much money, like, what was the reason?
A provincial government decision, I think, wasn't it? Down to the. My last report is, the ARM meeting in St. Andrews, which has already been reported on. That's all I have unless there's more questions.
Anything else that Scott needs to share? Okay, I don't have very much here either. I too was at the Recreation Manitoba Awards Luncheon on February the 27th. The ride in was a little bit hairy. The ride home was much better. March the 3rd, I had a WMR CPR meeting. I was still able to attend because we never got the official notification that we've decided to not stay in WMR, so I was still able to attend that one. March the 5th, I did attend the Red River Basin Board meeting via Zoom, so it was very interesting. There's lots of stuff going on in the States, and you know, when I think about the dollars we have to do stuff here compared to the dollars they have down there, it just blows me away because they are so much better funded than we are here, so. But it's always been that way and I don't see that changing in any time soon. And then too, I was at the ARM at Lower Fort Garry on Thursday and the guest speaker was very good. I have heard him speak before. I was looking back at some notes and he actually spoke at the Selkirk ARM meeting a few months ago too, so. Yeah, and he actually, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but he was a appointed member on WMR from the province also, so I've seen him at quite a few meetings, so, and that's all I have. Deepak.
I have nothing new to report other than the in-camera discussions I have, Madam Mayor, and I'll provide my full CO for the next council meeting.
Thank you for that.
I had one thing I missed.
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Council Strang brought up retention bonds. So retention bonds are eligible for funding under the watershed district. So if farmers are interested, they can receive funding if it's approved.
Heather, do you have anything you'd like to share with us today? Okay, so having said that, I believe we can now go in camera. We have a number of items to discuss there and we will head over to the library in a little while. So if I could have a resolution to move in camera. Please.
Resolve that council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal or personnel issues. And further be it resolved that all matters to be discussed will remain confidential as per section 83(1)D of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, second. Councillor Spicer. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.